I don't need you to set me free from anything. I can very well set myself free. If I were you, I wouldn't stick around.
Welcome back to another video, Miraculous fans. When watching the earlier seasons of Miraculous Ladybug, I was often frustrated by the handout Miraculous system and the probational heroes. As the series progressed, I thought it would be more efficient for the wielders to keep their Miraculouses, while answering to Ladybug or Master Fu when necessary. Most of the members of the French superhero team are responsible and have proven they can protect Paris with the same competency as Ladybug and Cat Noir, so the benefits of keeping the Miraculouses outweighed the cost. Needless to say, I was thrilled when Ladybug made the decision to give out the Miraculouses, allowing the French superhero team to reach its full potential. However, with so many active wielders, some things for the series will need to change. In today's video, I'll discuss how the new wielders will change the structure of Miraculous Ladybug.
Ready for your countdown as a superhero, lady loser? Never claim a goal before the ball has crossed the line penalty.
Number 1. Intersecting storylines. With so many heroes active at the same time, the series could allow each of them to have designated episodes throughout Season 6, with independent storylines that come together toward the end of the season, contributing to a complete narrative. While this may seem ambitious, doing so doesn't require Ladybug and Cat Noir to take a back seat in their own story. Certain episodes can feature one or two wielders at the same time. For example, I expect that Kagami and Felix's personal stories will overlap moving forward. In the 5th season, Miraculous Ladybug managed to showcase each Miraculous through individual episodes named after their concepts. By doing so, the audience witnesses what each Miraculous power is capable of without detracting from the original plot. There are also more episodes in a season than there are Miraculous wielders, ensuring that Ladybug and Cat Noir will stay at the forefront of the narrative, making up the bulk of the character interactions. They could even appear in episodes geared toward their fellow heroes, helping their allies overcome personal problems or defeat akumatized villains. What matters in this new formula is that we learn more about the other heroes, witness how they're handling new responsibilities, and glean the direction of their character arcs. I think the series would suffer if Ladybug and Cat Noir evolve over time, only for their allies to remain unchanged. I do expect some heroes to have bigger roles in the narratives than others. Ryuko, Argos, Rena Rouge, and Viperion have all had storylines in the previous season that point to them having a more significant role moving forward. Yet their relevance doesn't mean the other characters should be dropped by the wayside. Giving everyone their own narrative, even if they're only contained within an episode or two, ensures that everyone in the French superhero team remains relevant.
Don't you need it to fight?
Fighting's no longer my priority. All I care about is your safety.
Number 2. Designated teams. If the writers for Miraculous Ladybug want to have a more focused and plot-driven narrative, then incorporating numerous and overlapping narratives may prove challenging. Furthermore, there are other ways to incorporate the large scale of heroes without cutting back on the primary narrative. In former seasons, we've witnessed how much Adrien and Marinette have struggled when balancing their personal lives with the heroic responsibilities. They struggled to maintain relationships, arrived late to school, and lost an entire night's worth of sleep on numerous occasions. Now that they have a team of active heroes to help them, some of their overburdening responsibilities can be lifted from their shoulders. For most of the series, Ladybug and Cat Noir operated as a team, relying on themselves to defeat akumatized villains. The other wielders could also divide into teams with scheduled patrols, which would help everyone have time for their personal lives. There's also a system in place that would ensure Ladybug isn't needed to purify akumas. In the episode Confrontation, we witness what Ladybug's magical charms are capable of. Mr. Damocles manages to purify a Megakuma with his charm by standing against his negative emotions. If the other Miraculous wielders received a magical charm, they could also use them to nullify an Akuma, preventing it from causing more harm. With this system in place, the heroes will be more efficient than ever before, and make it incredibly difficult for Lila to gain the upper hand. Number 3. Protecting all of France. So far, Ladybug and Cat Noir have prioritized Paris. I can't blame them. It would be difficult for two teenagers to expand their reach across all of France, even with their power-ups. They can't be everywhere at once, meaning that criminals and villains in other countries must be dealt with by local law enforcement. However, Gabriel was also small-minded, and due to the heroes living in Paris, he focused his attacks on their city solely to draw them out. There were a few times when he traveled beyond the city, like in Miraculous World Specials, but he was followed by his adversaries and quickly defeated. Lila may expand her reach, allowing her to terrorize the people beyond Paris. There's no reason she shouldn't search for akumatized villains outside the capital, making all of France her battleground. If she takes this route, then the entire superhero team will have a legitimate reason to use their Miraculouses. While Ladybug and Cat Noir stay in Paris, they can depend on their allies to travel beyond their city's borders to stop outside threats. Again, this would allow all the heroes to remain relevant while raising the narrative stakes. If Lila manages to terrorize all of Paris, then she will have an entire nation looking her way. As someone who has always enjoyed attention, it seems likely that Lila would try to expand her reach, even if it requires hiding behind her villainous alter ego.
Gabriel Agreste cannot be Ladybug. Why did I write that? Did something go wrong with my plan? No! No!
Number 4. Reserved Miraculouses. While this isn't my favorite option, it also seems like the most likely. To avoid excessive heroes arriving at the scene of an akumatization attack and explain the absences of these heroes, Ladybug may decide to reserve Miraculouses until they're absolutely necessary. The system would be very similar to how things worked before, when a hero wouldn't arrive to help unless they were summoned by Ladybug. The only difference is that the other heroes already have their Miraculouses and wouldn't need them delivered, saving everyone crucial time. With this rule in place, I still expect some heroes to arrive on the scene more than others. For example, in the episode Heroes' Day, we're introduced to the premise of the core 5 heroes, including Ladybug, Cat Noir, Rena Rouge, Carapace, and Queen Bee. With Zoe taking over the Bee Miraculous to become Vesperia, she can complete the main team. These 5 heroes may work together regularly, becoming a crucial part of Paris' stability. They may also work alongside Mayor Bustier to ensure their city remains safe and eco-friendly. The reason I dislike this structure is because it forces the other heroes to have a minimal role in the plot. Like former seasons, they'll only appear in episodes that are written to include them. Some heroes like Capri Kid and Roosterbold only have a significant role in a single episode, which makes them pale in comparison to the other heroes. I suspect it would make them more like Bunnix, who is written out of the main narrative and only intervenes when the other heroes have failed.
Thanks to this magic wand, I'm granting you all the power to indefinitely use your powers. No more time limits.
Number 5. The Return of the Guardians. While Suhan is the celestial guardian who leads the rest, I find the absence of the other guardians suspicious. Suhan told Ladybug and Cat Noir in Multiplication that he would return to their temple to retrieve reinforcements. Assuming he's traveling there on foot, it makes sense that he's absent for the remainder of the season. However, when we see him again in the season finale, he isn't accompanied by established guardians. Instead, he's chosen to train Luca and his family in Mira Kung Fu. I suspect that the other guardians may frown upon Suhan's decision to let Marinette maintain ownership of the Miracle Box, which ultimately led to Gabriel becoming monarch. If the other guardians are questioning Suhan's leadership, they may arrive in Paris to watch the new Miraculous wielders firsthand. Witnessing their efficiency in defeating akumatized villains, I think it would be fun if the guardians pulled the heroes aside a few at a time to properly train them. In the past, guardians handpicked their wielders and taught them everything about the Miraculouses. Given everything they've accomplished, it would only be fair if the modern heroes received the same treatment.
It's time for you to prove that you remember everything I taught you!
I know it would be easy for the series to forego mentioning the other heroes until their powers are relevant to an episode, but I hope Miraculous Ladybug does more for the supporting characters the fandom has learned to love. While the scope of the French superhero team would make it impossible for all the characters to feature in each episode, making some of these minuscule changes would allow them to share the spotlight or explain their absences in meaningful ways. When the 6th season premieres next year, I hope the heroes who have fought beside Ladybug and Cat Noir are done justice.
Except you will only have a few hours left to live. So does Natalie, a victim of your madness. And Adrian will be miserable.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
How did you know?
Look, I hear that it's one of my superpowers. The other one being the Cataclysm!